Long, long ago, in the heart of the great savannah, there lived a village called Baobab, named after the mighty tree that stood at its center. The tree was so old and wise that the elders said it held the memories of 1,000 seasons. In this village lived a woman named Amara, whose beauty was like the first light of dawn over the acacia trees. She married a young hunter named Kofi, who was brave but poor. Their hut was small, made of mud and thatch, but their love was as vast as the endless sky. Amara's belly grew round twice, like the full moon, but both times the ancestors called the babies home before they could see the world. The village women whispered that perhaps the spirits were angry. Amara wept under the baobab tree, her tears falling like the first rains of the season. "Why do the ancestors take my children?" she cried to the ancient tree. The wind rustled through its massive branches as if the tree itself was sighing with her pain. Kofi saw his wife's sorrow and worked harder than ever. He hunted from sunrise to sunset, but the animals had moved far away during the dry season. Some days he returned with nothing but dust on his feet. Other days, he brought small birds or fish from the distant river. After losing her second child, Amara's body began to change. Like a baobab tree that stores water for the dry season, her body held onto everything she ate. The village women began to whisper behind their cooking pots. "Look at Amara," they said. "She eats like a hippopotamus, but produces no children." But Amara ate not from greed, but from the emptiness in her heart. Food was the only thing that filled the hollow space where her children's laughter should have been. One day, Kofi returned from hunting with eyes bright as fireflies. "My wife," he called out, "the chief of the neighboring village has offered me work. I will build houses for his growing village. We will no longer go hungry." Amara clapped her hands like a child watching the first lightning of the rainy season. "The ancestors have finally smiled upon us," she cried. Kofi worked day and night, building strong houses that could withstand both the harmattan winds and the heavy rains. Amara helped him, carrying water and clay, even though her body had grown heavy. The other women laughed at her, calling her the elephant who forgot how to dance. Months passed like the slow movement of clouds across the sky. Then one evening, Kofi burst into their hut like a whirlwind. "Amara, the great chief from the city has chosen me to build his palace. We will be rich like the kings of old." That night, they danced under the stars, their shadows moving like spirits around their small fire. The next morning, Kofi dressed in his finest cloth and left for the city. Days passed, then weeks, like vultures circling overhead. Amara waited, cooking his favorite groundnut stew every evening, but he did not return. An old woman from the market whispered to Amara, "Child, your husband has not disappeared like morning mist. He stays in the grand hotel in the city, living like a chief." Amara's heart broke like a calabash dropped on stone. She took the last of their money and traveled to the city, a place of tall buildings that reached toward the sky like metal trees. In the hotel's grand hall, decorated with gold like the sunset, she found Kofi, but he was not alone. A young woman, thin as a gazelle and beautiful as a peacock, hung on his arm. She wore clothes that shimmered like river water and laughed like tinkling bells. "Kofi," Amara called out, her voice trembling like leaves in the wind. "I have been waiting for you. The groundnut stew grows cold every night." Kofi turned to her, his eyes cold as the harmattan wind. "Amara, since I married you, you have brought me nothing but bad fortune. Look at yourself, you have become as wide as a baobab tree. How can a successful man like me walk beside someone who looks like a hippopotamus?" The young woman pressed closer to Kofi and spoke with a voice sharp as thorns. "I am Zara, the woman Kofi truly deserves. Look at you, big and clumsy like an old elephant. Do you think a rich man wants to be seen with someone like you?" Amara felt as if a lion had clawed her heart. Tears flowed like the great river during flood season. "After everything, Kofi, I lost our children. I worked until my hands bled to help you. The pain made me eat to forget, and now you mock the body that carried your babies?" Kofi showed no mercy, like the sun during drought. "Business is business, Amara. You are like an old ox, no longer useful. I need a woman who brings me pride, not shame. My lawyers will bring papers. This marriage is finished, like the dry season." He kissed Zara in front of everyone, while Amara's sobs echoed through the hall like the cry of a wounded buffalo. As Amara stumbled from the hotel, blinded by tears, she bumped into a tall man in fine robes. He steadied her gently and looked at her face with concern. "Sister, what brings such sorrow to your eyes?" he asked in a voice gentle as evening breeze. Through her tears, Amara looked up and gasped. It was Kwame, her childhood friend from a neighboring village, now grown into a man of obvious wealth and importance. "Kwame, is it really you?" she whispered. "Yes, little Amara. But what has happened? Why do you cry like the sky during the rainy season?" She told him everything, her words tumbling out like water over rocks. Kwame's face grew dark as storm clouds. "That man who just humiliated you, I am the one who gave him that building contract. He owes his fortune to me." Amara's eyes widened like a night creature caught in firelight. Kwame spoke softly. "Come with me, sister. In my village, we care for our own." His home was like a chief's compound, large and beautiful, with servants and fine furniture from across the lands. But Kwame lived alone, having never found a woman worthy of his heart. "Why do you live alone in such a grand place?" Amara asked. Kwame smiled like the sun breaking through clouds. "Perhaps I was waiting for the right person to share it with." In Kwame's house, Amara found an old woman grinding herbs. The woman looked up with eyes wise as the baobab tree. "Child," the old woman said, "I see pain in your body and spirit. But there is medicine for both. The ancestors have not forgotten you." She gave Amara special herbs and foods, teaching her the old ways of healing. "Eat these leaves with the morning sun. Walk as our grandmothers walked. Dance as our people have always danced. Your body will remember its true form." Day by day, like the slow changing of seasons, Amara began to transform. The herbs cleansed her blood. The walking strengthened her spirit. The dancing awakened her joy. The weight that grief had put on her body began to melt away like morning dew. Kwame watched her change with wonder. "You are like a butterfly emerging from its cocoon," he told her one evening as they sat under the stars. "I am not doing this for Kofi," Amara replied. "I am doing this for the woman I was meant to be." Months passed like migrating birds. Amara's true beauty returned, not just her body, but her spirit. She laughed again, like water flowing over stones. She sang again, like birds at dawn. One evening, Kwame took her hands under the baobab tree in his compound. "Amara, will you be my wife? Not because of how you look, but because of who you are, wise, strong, and beautiful inside and out." Amara's heart soared like an eagle. "Yes, Kwame. My heart has found its home." Meanwhile, in the city, Kofi's world was crumbling like old mud walls in the rain. The building project was failing because he had spent the money on fine clothes and parties instead of materials. Workers left because he could not pay them. The palace stood half-finished, like a broken promise. Zara packed her bags like a hyena fleeing from lions. "I cannot stay with a poor man," she said, throwing her gold jewelry at his feet. "Find another fool to suffer with you." Kofi fell to his knees, but she was already gone, like smoke in the wind. When the final payment came due, Kofi had nothing left. Kwame's representatives came to collect the money, but Kofi could only offer empty hands and broken dreams. "Please," Kofi begged, "give me more time. I can fix this." But business is like the river. It flows in one direction only. Kofi lost everything: his house, his car, his reputation. The man who had mocked his wife for being poor was now poorer than he had ever been. The news of Amara's wedding to Kwame spread across the land like wildfire. On her wedding day, she was more beautiful than the sunrise over the savannah. She wore traditional cloth of gold and blue, with beads that caught the light like captured stars. As she danced with Kwame under the baobab tree, surrounded by celebrating villagers, a lone figure watched from the shadows. It was Kofi, dressed in rags, his pride broken like a calabash. The old women of the village nodded wisely. "The ancestors see everything," they said. "What you plant with your hands, you will harvest with your heart." Amara saw Kofi watching and felt no anger, only pity. She had learned that carrying hatred is like carrying fire. It burns the one who holds it. The baobab tree swayed in the evening breeze, its ancient branches seeming to whisper the old wisdom. "Those who plant kindness will harvest joy. Those who plant cruelty will harvest sorrow. And those who are patient and true will find their season of blessing." And so Amara, the wise woman of Baobab village, lived happily with Kwame, their love growing stronger with each passing season, like the great tree that had witnessed it all. Moral of the story: true beauty comes from within, and those who judge others by appearance alone will learn that outer wealth means nothing without inner wealth. The ancestors reward patience, kindness, and faithfulness, but they also ensure that cruelty returns to its sender, like an echo in the mountains.